Hello, and welcome to the speed learning series of ServiceNow's third-party risk management. In every session of this series, we will share you quick insights into the must-know features of the third-party risk management application. Right, so this speed learning session will help you understand the approval configurations you may want to know in third-party risk management's due diligence process. We'll get into a critical aspect of effective third-party risk management today, that is the due diligence approval process, right? So think of it as establishing robust checkpoints to ensure thorough due diligence, right? And we'll explore how ServiceNow empowers you to configure these approval workflows, essentially defining who needs to sign off and under what conditions, transforming your internal team into vigilant gatekeepers of due diligence. We'll then walk through the steps of configuring these approvals, see it in action with a short demo, and leave you with the key takeaways and helpful resource. All right, so let's understand the purpose of gatekeeping here, right? So think of internal, third-party risk management team, the managers and the approvers as the meticulous detectives or the gatekeepers, right? So they deep dive into every submission from your third parties and engagements where they reach a positive consensus or they feel the required criteria is met, which is set by the onboarding organization, right? So, and in this case, they approve the third party engagement, marking the due diligence journey as successfully completed. Failing to meet the organization's evaluation criteria, they may reject or can also suggest for additional due diligence. So the approval of the third party or the engagement takes place essentially, uh, you know, uh, when you have completed your IRQ, your external assessments by sending and receiving the responses from your third party contacts, upon which the process begins where approver or the manager can approve or reject the third party or the engagement assessments and move to complete the due diligence process. So as said, approval workflows starts once all assessments are concluded, and then only the due diligence request is flagged as ready for approval. The designated owner, which could be the manager or the assessor or the approver, verifies the assigned approver and then formally request their approval. Right. So this action shifts the request to the awaiting approval stage automatically by triggering email notifications to all the relevant approvers. Right. So these internal stakeholders who must be part of your TPRM manager users group then review the third party's questionnaires, responses, and the supporting documentation within your vendor risk management workspace or even in classic interface, where they can assess their pending approvals and related tasks, and finally can either take a decision of approving or rejecting and can get into and in case if they're trying to say for example in case of rejection they can also ask for further due diligence if at all, right? All right, so let's see the how you can configure the approvals. So in the third party risk management application you can set up a series of approval you know stages, right, for your due diligence request by assigning one or more approval levels to a specific user or to a group. Since these levels are processed one after the other, and each level can have its own unique rules, you can make sure the right person or the team reviews and approves these requests. right? So in TPRM, you have precise controls over how your due diligence requests are approved, right? So for each approval level, as we discussed in our previous slide, uh, right? You can define rules by specifying the type of approvers, right? It could be an individual, or it could be a group, or dynamically assigned assignment based rules, or any other specific criteria. And also the number of approvers required can be set up while you are setting up the approval rule. So to ensure the right users or the groups are always assigned, you can also apply filter conditions by pointing it out to a table by setting the conditions for each of your rule, right? And this allows you to tailor the approval process to the specific context of each request, right? So each approval level can have multiple distinct approval rules, right? Furthermore, each rule can be based on the table of the record being approved or any other related table, offering you immense flexibility in your approval workflows. So now, who's responsible, right? In this case, which person or which user role can set up this approval conditions, right, or the approval configuration within your third-party due diligence, right? So it is the third-party administrator who is whole and solely responsible to do such sort of configurations, which enables you for a effective due diligence process and the approvals in your third party program. All right, so time to get onto the system and go through the approval configuration pages, right? We'll see how to set up the levels, we'll see how you can apply the rules to it. All right, so what I've done is I've logged into the application with a user who's having the rights of TPRM administrator. So once you log in, what you can do is you can access all and then type approval configuration. So you can go to assignments and approval configuration, beneath it approval configurations. So over here you'll see some default approval configuration already shipped, and the with the third party you will see something called as third party due diligence default configuration. You can access that. So once you access this, remember the first thing what you'll have to do is you'll have to create the levels, the approval levels. Now to create the approval levels, you can simply go in over here, scroll down and click on approval level. Name the approval level as to which approval your approval level you want to set this. Currently what I've done is I've created one already. Uh, the default in the TPRM application, there will be a default approval level which is already shipped. You can make use of this, else you can always uh, make this as inactive and create a new one. I've created another one for approval level 2. So now once you are into approval, once you create the approval levels, you can also get in and create the rules over here. So to create a rule within an approval level, you can again click on new approval rule. Name it. You can provide the name as to what sort of approval this would be, right? Okay. Brief description as to what this could be and point out to the source table. Now, since we are doing this for third-party due diligence, you can go over here and put it as third party due diligence table would be this third-party TPRM due diligence request. And now you can add furthermore conditions to this. Say, for example, you can have multiple conditions. Or here, say, for example, if you're looking to create a rule which says third parties with high risk rating needs to go to a particular user, third party moderate risk rating should go to another user, or probably low to a different user. So you can have multiple rules set in over here with multiple conditions. Say, for example, it could be ratings. Now, just for example, right? So you can say third party assessment rating, and if it is or contains like the conditions, you can build you can use these conditions and then put the rating. Now in the rating, you can see look for vendor risk as the set uh, in over here, and then use those. So for example, if you want to say risk rating could be very high, right? And then you can also have other conditions as and or as well. So if it is or, if it is and, so you can have multiple conditions set over here uh, with other different fields. You can use it. Similarly, once you are done with this, once you decide on what condition should it go to a designated user or a group, you can build it over here. Similarly, after that, you can have the approval types. Approval types, it says specific approvers. So this is where you can have the approvers listed if it is a single user, or if you want to send it to a group, you can use the groups over here. And the approval required from, now approval required form is, if at all it is say for example, if you have chosen 10 users, or probably in a group there are 10 users in a group, if you want the approval to be done by all of those 10 users to approve the request, or you can also select anyone. So what it does is, out of 10, if any one approver just approves, it will skip for the rest of them and move to the next level, if at all. Right. So with this, what I've done, I've chosen a very basic example wherein uh, I have created a condition on which what I'm looking for is a third party's address, as in if the third party belongs to say US, or if the third party belongs to a certain country, for example, France, right? So like that, you can also set, and you can have those designated TPRM managers who are uh, looking into particular geography. You can send it to them as well that way. S- And when it comes to your approver types, now that you have specific approvers, you can use like this, but then you can also have approver from the source, right? So this is where again you can pull the source table, use the fields and the group fields to have your conditions meeting, and to follow the approval process. Similarly, there is another one which is called as the dynamic approvers. So this is where, when you select approver dynamically from the approver table, right, by applying certain conditions, or it could be any dynamic conditions too, you can again select those groups or those users to have the approval getting routed. Last but not the least, there is also something called as scripted approvers. This is where you can come up with your own script, right? Use the right set of variables for users or groups, and you can use this as well. So some samples have been also provided over here. So you can click onto this and access those details. Now, as I said, I have created one condition. Okay, they have created two rules, which says, any third party or an engagement which is where the third party uh, does business in USA, say for example, would be routed to a different third party approver. So in this case, what I've done is I've selected Ivan Wright and Adam Harrow, and this is where the second level of approval would go into. Similarly, There is another one which I've created. If the third party belongs to, say, from France as a country, and I'm routing this to Able. Probably take this as an example. Say Able, who is the one. Able tutor would be probably the third party manager for the operations or the business which you do in France, and you're looking, your third parties and engagements to be approved by certain user. Just as an example again, right? So what I've done over here, this is at level 2, and my level 1. In my level 1, what I've done is I'm sending it to a complete bunch of users, as in groups. So in the level 2, I have selected only some users, as you know here, but this is where I'm sending it to all the third party managers, out of which anyone approves will move into the level 2 of approvers. This is the default one, but you can always make changes to this and use it according to your business requirements. So with this, what I'll do is I will impersonate a third party manager as Adam Harrow. Let me get in over here. So once you log in with Adam Harrow, who is the third party manager, let's take an example I already have an example wherein uh, in the due diligence process, uh, I have a third party request that is third party, which is, in this example, we'll use a third party belonging on the country. So I've used a third party called as France one, and this is already in the approval process. So if you see here, there's something called as France one. Now, what I've made sure is this particular third party has gone through all levels of your assessments and now is at the approval process. So as a manager, once you go through all the inherent assessments, once you go through all of the once you know uh, review all the assessments, what you can do is further you can submit it for uh, approval process. So you click on request for approval. Now what does this do is once it requests for the approval, it will populate your approvers and your approval levels. Now if you go to the approval levels, you should see that there are two approvals requested, level 1 and level 2. So for your first level of approval, you have around you have around 7 users, out of which anyone approves will move this approval to the next level. So since I've logged in as Adam Arrow, who is already a manager and part of the approver group, Adam can pretty much approve the assessment, sorry, the request. So the request number is 1015. So what he can do is he can go to due diligence requests and go into my approvals. I'll pull up the request and I'll say once I've gone through all of the uh, reviewing of the assessments, Adam Arrow can take a call whether to approve or to reject. So with a happy path, I'll choose as approve and Adam saves it. Now, if you remember the condition what we have used for the level 2 from our previous example is the level 2 should be routed to user called as Adam Harrow. Sorry, should route it to Able Tutor because Able is looking after the country France, the third party program, right? So if I go in over here and I say refresh, it says first one, Adam Arrow has approved. The level 2 will be triggered to Able Tutor. Now he is requested. Similarly, if you go to the approval levels, you can see the first level has been completed and the level 2 has initiated. So Able needs to approve this. So what Able will impersonate Able and proceed with the approval. So you go into the vendor management workspace, and now by this within all of these process, what happens is also the approvers would receive a email notification. So based on the email notification, you can log into the system and approve it. So even Able goes in over here and can approve it. Once this is approved, you can go back to the due diligence management workspace and see your approval processes. Do a quick refresh and go in over here. So if you see all your approvals are now done, you can proceed with the next phase of your third party due diligence process, which is nothing but sending it to the contract negotiator. Now, I mean, to the intent of this demo was to only make sure that, you know, there are ways that you can configure your approvals. Like as you have seen in this example, we have just chosen a simple path where it goes for first level approval, it goes for the second level approval based on certain conditions. The condition what we have used over here is the third party doing business from which country. Similarly, you can have multiple levels of condition. It could be based on your third-party risk assessment rating, or it could be based on your inherent rating, or it could be based also on your tier rating. You can have multiple conditions set for your approval levels. All right, moving back to our slide. So yeah, now that we have listed few key resources which will help you in your implementation for your better understanding, right? And this slide decks will be also posted onto our ServiceNow community page, wherein you can download it and go through these resource links. So let's summarize our quick takeaways from this demo. As you have seen, it's the approval configuration is pretty much flexible, right? That offers you the rules that can be based on records being approved or any other related tables, providing significant workflow routing. Multi-stage approval, that's again configurable, right? The system allows setting up sequential approval stages with one or more approval levels assigned to users or to groups. Granular controls or approval rules, as you have seen for each level, you can define the types of approvers. It could be individual, it could be a group, it could be a dynamic assessment, and the required number of approvals as well, right? Uh, Conditional rule application, again, you have seen the filters where filters based on the table conditions that can be applied to each rule, ensuring that the right users are assigned based on the request context. Multiple rules per approval, right? So each approval level can have several distinct approvals rules. All right. So thanks for watching. Hope this speed learning session has provided you some quick insights into the TPRM due diligence approval configuration. See you soon.